The virtual campground is a community of RVers. We gather around the campfire to share stories, information, and travel tips that help you on your next adventure. Your camp hosts, Debra and Barry Benton, are full-time RVers in search of quaint bookstores, cozy coffee shops with great Wi-Fi, and epic photography opportunities, all to share with you. So pull up your chair and join us in the virtual campground.
Hi! Hello there. Hopefully I am with sound and with sight and with all those things. I don't have anybody to back me up and let me know if this is working. So hopefully it is, and I'm not just speaking out to the universe. Anyway, welcome to the virtual campground. I am so glad you're here, whether you're watching me live or you're watching the replay. Hopefully you will learn something today or have something to take away. We got a couple of fun things. Well, one fun thing for sure. Barry did a nice little tidbit for folks about learning how to do some great photography, imaging, and portrait versus photo. Anyway, I'll show you that in a minute. But for now, I am all by myself. I am me. And Barry is off on a business trip. He doesn't even get to watch me right now because they're having a business trip. And of course, I'm not sure anybody in my family's watching because the Stars play about right now too in the playoff. So I'm pretty sure I'm alone, at least family-wise. Hopefully somebody's out there. Let me know in the chat if you are and if you can hear me. That would be awesome to have somebody let me know. I wanted to have a question of the day today, and please put this in the comments in the chat or there at the bottom if you're watching this on replay. But I'm very curious what RV events you guys attend. Now, this could be in person or it might be online. Some of those, we have had lots of virtual summits, and of course, we have our own Camp Campfire DM, but I know Escapees has lots of events, and other people have events. I've heard about a new event called the Chasm Fest, I think it's called. CHASM, all those letters stand for something, which looks like a fun, geared a little bit younger than me, fest. But so I'm curious to know if anybody's been to that or to any other. So please let me know and let me know what you thought about in the comments below. What RV events have you attended, and online or in person, both? All right, so today I am going to be sharing just some information and news, but first I'm going to start with what Barry left for us today. He, as you know, is a professional photographer and loves to teach people how to take better photos. He and a friend of his, David Downs, actually have their own Benton Downs photography where they take people out on workshops, which are always to really pretty places at pretty times of the year, like in Arkansas during the fall color, which is in, I think, it's usually around Halloween, so late October, and then he's going to do 2 in Caddo Lake area, which if you haven't been to the Caddo Lake area in Texas, we highly recommend it, and have done actually a show to share more about that. So we I'll put show notes in there. But he did. This is oh yeah, I was going to tell you that I was going to show you that little movie. I'm still in the Camas, Utah area at the Naughty Pines campground, but I went out to the Sundance Resort, which they actually even had skiing last week because of Mother's Day. But now you can start to see the snow melt. We have snow melt here. We have a river that we've been watching. Every now and then we get alerts that it might flood. It hasn't yet. Doesn't look to me like it will, but it certainly is going this strongly. But look at all that water. That's crazy to me. That's, you know, a lot of water. But anyway, and then I wanted to show you my favorite picture of the year or the week, which is at Sundance. So that is the mountains up there near Sundance. Like I said, went up there. I went up there to pick up a candle that my son and I had made on a previous visit to Sundance a couple weeks ago when he was in town. We made our own candle, and it has the scent like Sundance. It's their own branded scent. But anyway, he and I had a lot of fun making the candle, and I went back up to pick him up And that view has just gotten so much prettier even than it was a couple weeks ago. I mean, the mountains are grand and beautiful, but it's also greened up. It's greened up quite a bit here at the campground as well. I'll have to post a picture now that all the snow is melted and the trees are actually starting to get leaves. So I think spring is finally starting to come here to the Utah area, which is very, very exciting. Now, I showed you my favorite moment. Let me show you my scariest moment of this week. I went out in the Jeep and I
somewhere over there.
take this road.
And you can see track marks where I got eyes in.
And I got
Got stuck.
Oh my God, trying to
I am not
move my way out.
That was a good idea.
And then I remember that.
I wonder if I might feel this.
But that was scary. I had this big, you know, tilt it, not all the way, not all the way sideways, but just tilt it enough to scare me. And I was by myself, and I knew Barry couldn't make it down that road. Certainly not in the rig to collect me. So, but luckily I stopped and took a deep breath and got out of there. Went back, decided that I had made it down this dirt road to there, and thought all the divots and the holes and the gullies and everything, I've made it. But that was much worse than I had encountered, and I was a little scared about what was up ahead. So decided not to try it since the water was coming from that direction. Any rate, all right, so let's see what else we have here. Let's talk about Barry's photography. Barry, as I was mentioning, is a professional photographer, loves to teach people how to take better photographs. So he made this little short video for you guys, and I would love for you just to take a look.
This is a quick demonstration of the two different photo modes available on a typical iPhone. There is your photo option, which is your standard to take a photo. It allows you to zoom pretty easily, so I'm going to take a snapshot there. Now I'm going to switch over to portrait mode, which gives you some other options. You see natural light. First you see it move farther away, so you can't be too close. If you're trying to photograph something small, you have to back up. And you have the natural light and some other options down there that are fun to play with, but this throws the background and the foreground more out of focus. So some may like this effect more. Play around with it on your different photos to see what you like best. So let's throw these into Snapseed and take a look and see what we think. Snapseed, you can look at our other app to see my overview of Snapseed where I walk through these different tools. I'm just going to increase the brightness a little bit, increase the saturation, ambiance. I'm going to bring down those highlights in the background, bring up the shadows a tiny bit, not too much, and create a little bit of warmth, not too much. I find that you can overdo things in Snapseed really quickly. Add back a little more contrast. I'm going to go in and the brightness of the rock is bothering me a little bit, so I'm going to tone that down just a little bit using the selective tool. And then I'm going to go hit that background. It's a little hot, a little bright, tone down the background, brighten up the actual crystals. I put a vignette on there. You can see you can move the vignette around. You can zoom in and out on the vignette to make it smaller or larger. I like to use vignette on a lot of my photos just to bring more attention. I should have cropped this before I did the vignette, so you always want to crop to what you think your final crop's going to be and then apply the vignette. I just find that to be helpful. So I darkened it around the edges, and now I'm brightening it a little bit in the middle, or in the middle. And then let's go through and crop this a little bit. Okay, so we got that cropped. Now we're going to save it. And I typically save a copy just so I have the original and I can go back to it if I want it. All right, let's pull up the one that I use the portrait mode for, where the background's a little more out of focus, but I had to get a little further away from the subject. We're going to go through the same process, doing the edits. Here I am going to crop it first. So I have my crop in mind before I mess around with any of the edits. Go through the same process of tuning the image with brightness and shadows, highlights, saturation, etc. Go through that selective process, darken that rock a little bit, hit the plus sign so I can do another selective edit on that bright background back there, just tone that down a little bit, apply my vignette, crop it in just a little bit more. I'm going to apply a frame. That's always my last step. I forgot to do that on another one. I'll go back and add that frame, and there you go. Save a copy. And then let's take a look at these two back to back, and let's see what we think. Okay, here is the first one using photo mode. See the background, the tree, a little bit more in focus than the other one. And let's take a look at the second one, but I want you to keep your eyes on that tree to the right and the rock directly at the bottom of the frame and the background in general. See how everything's more out of focus? You may love it or hate it or whatever, but it can be really effective in some situations. So that tree is much less in focus. The front of the rock starts to be out of focus and then comes into focus as you get closer to the subject. And the tree's way off in the background on the left, and the field in the back is way out of focus. So really brings your attention to your subject that you're trying to photograph. Here's a sample that I did at the recent Tulip Festival using the technique that I just described. I put it in portrait mode on my phone. I focused on that flower. That let the rest of the background go out of focus. And then I put it into Snapseed and did those different edits to it, increase the saturation, decrease the highlights, increase the shadows a little bit, and then put a vignette. And I moved the vignette directly over that flower so that the flower did not get darker. It stayed the same tonal value, and then the vignette let everything else get just a little bit darker to draw the viewer's attention directly to that flower. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and let us know if you have any questions in the comments. Be glad to help you any way we can.
All right. Hopefully you got something out of that. That came up because last week when we were at the Tulip Festival and he showed me that tulip picture, I was like, well, how do you do that? Because I knew he just had his iPhone. He didn't have his big camera. So I told him he needed to teach the rest of us. He has another lesson coming up that we're working on that is about how to make the water really silky when you're out there, especially for waterfalls. He did something over here at the river, and that we'll show that to you next week, maybe. Or we'll at least post it so you can see it. And then as far as that Snapseed, I will find the link to that previous video. I'm not sure we did it as a standalone, so I will take care of that, and so that folks can see how you can use Snapseed. It's an app that you can download and use to help make your photos just a smidge better, or a whole lot better, different anyway. So up to you what you do. Like he said, that it can be taken to an extreme quickly. So you just have to decide what you want to do with your photo. So let's see what else we've got this week. You can tell I was playing with graphics this week, can't you? I was this years old when I learned something. You know how when you're on a hike and you see trees and they have white painted on them, and I know that's wayfinding. That's helping you know you're on the right path with the trail. But I've also seen them with other colors painted on them, and I did not know this. But did you know, especially in like states like Texas, Alabama, I think Missouri, several others, that if a tree is painted with purple, they might have a purple stripe right about the time, about eye level, that is telling you no trespassing. Do not go on that land if you see trees with purple. They've decided, I guess, that with signs, of course, that hurts the tree, first of all, and second of all, those are very removable, and then people are like, well, I didn't see a sign. So purple tells you that no trespassing. I didn't know that, learned that just the other day, reading somebody else's newsletter. RV Trader, I think, is the one that mentioned that, not Trader. One of those RV newsletters. Anyway, that was news to me. Hopefully it's news to you and you've learned something. Here's another one of the pretty little graphics that I decided today I wanted to play with. I don't have Barry's big Debra's News little noise making thing, so I decided to go this direction and wanted to share with you some bits of news. Of course, let's start with the national parks. Yosemite, as we told you last week, is closed in part of the campgrounds. The lower campgrounds in the valley are closed due to flooding that they were anticipating. They indeed got. The river is now much higher and is close to, if not at, flooding. You can see here the waterfall, the Yosemite waterfall, and how much water is coming out of that. That is crazy, a lot of water. And then this is a picture they posted that was of the, you can see the waterfall there in the distance, but of the river and where it's now come up over the fence. So that's pretty crazy. I also heard that the Tioga and Glacier Point roads are closed because of snow still. And of course, Mariposa Road, I mentioned last week, is closed due to construction. So that's closed. The Narrows in Zion National Park is also closed. This is a hike. If you watch the opening credits of, so to speak, of our opening video, you see me standing in the middle of the water. That's Narrows that I hiked when we were in Zion a year or so ago. Well, that's closed because of the upstream water coming from the Virgin River is now much higher than they will allow people to be down in that area and walk in. So that is also closed. So I would have to say right now, especially this summer, if you're planning to go to a national park, you will want to check the website and find out what's closed or not. Yosemite's still open. There are people posting pictures. They've been in Yosemite, parts of it, but it is, of course, got a lot of it closed. A lot of roads are closed. That is making the traffic in and out in a non-busy season already bad. And of course, this weekend, we all know what happens this next weekend, Memorial Day. And with Memorial Day comes Memorial Day traffic. And they are anticipating, with AAA has anticipated a 7% rise over last year. They estimate over 42 million people are planning some sort of trip within 50 miles or after over 50 miles from their home. So this is going to be a really busy time. Of course, the busiest traffic days will be Friday coming in and Monday leaving. Of course, that'll be when most people are, taking advantage of the weekend and on the move. Sadly, we will be one of the people on the move on that Monday. So be careful out there. Look ahead at your plans for the weekend. Hopefully, if you're planning to go camping, you have a campground already booked, because it would be very difficult to get something booked right now. That said, have you heard that Harvest Host now has a brand new product? They seem to be coming out with a new product every other week, but Harvest Host now has something they're calling Camp Scanner. This is one of those automated systems where for a membership fee, you can put in where you're wanting to go, and they're dinging these campsite ground reservation systems, mostly through Reserve America. They're binging them about every 5 minutes to find out if anybody's canceled. And the costs are from $39 a year. There's 3 tiers, up to $79, and it's based on how many times you scan it or want to scan it based on the number of scans that you're going to use it for, which one you want to be. But they have like over 12,000 campgrounds that they are dinging to find out if it has been canceled, so that maybe somebody can get that last minute campground at a state park or one of the other reserveamerica.gov kind of campgrounds. So with now 92 million campers going out there to do some camping, you know that you might need some help, right? Okay, let's see that. And then my next bit of news was REI is having their big sale right now. Their big anniversary sale is on. That is 60% off. So on their website and in person, I think. So you can pick up great prices on Patagonia and on North Face. And I'm watching out the window. All of a sudden, it was really sunny, and suddenly it's dark. I think I'm about to have a storm, and the wind has really picked up. So hopefully we don't lose anything here. And if we do, you'll know why, because the weather came in. Speaking of weather, I found two different maps for what the forecast for this summer is, because of course you might know, if you know me, that I like to stay in cool weather, and we are headed up to Pacific Northwest, and I knew that Pacific Northwest had a pretty warm wave last summer, and was hoping that maybe this summer they wouldn't. The Farmer's Almanac shows them to still be warm, a little bit basically normal, but the other weather, which is from the national weather, they're forecasting to be a little bit above temperatures. So you can see I certainly don't want to go to New Mexico or Arizona because it's in the red. That's how much above it's going to be. But it does look like the Pacific Northwest is also going to have a heat wave. I've also heard that the Northeast is expecting to be wetter than usual, but hopefully everybody else is not terribly much less on the weather, because, or I mean on the rain, so that it's not too dry and we have lots more fires. They're expecting it to be a little bit less of a fire season, except for, of course, in Canada, who sadly is already facing a lot of drought and already has a lot of fires going already. So let's see, what else did I miss? The other thing, big news, was that Florida passed a new law which will give residents an advantage. They'll get a 1 month advantage on booking campgrounds before non-residents. They'll have to prove that they're Florida residents, and they'll have 1 more month on I assume that state campgrounds, not private campgrounds, and where they get to book them 11 months out, non-residents are 10 months out. So knowing how hard Florida already is to book a reservation, that's a little distressing for those of us that don't live in Florida and are trying to get there, but I can understand both sides of it. Tell me what you think. Do you think that that's fair? I don't know. Each state, I think more and more states are kind of doing that. I think I read Idaho actually charges more for non-residents than residents. I don't think there's a difference in how you can do the reservations, but just there's a higher charge. So I get it, because there's so many more campers, and you do want to let your residents have advantage of the state parks. They help pay for them, right? So that makes some sense to me. It's just really hard on those of us that like to go more farther afield than 50 miles from our home. So anyway, that's kind of a drag. All right, well, let's see. Campfire Catch Up. Let's see. Just wanted to see how everybody was doing. Let you know that I personally am doing fine. It's been really wet and rainy here. It's been crazy. It'll be sunny for a little while, but then it'll get all rainy like it is now. It's just suddenly got exceedingly dark. And I would love it if anybody has any hints on screens, RV screens. Have any of you replaced your RV screen? Our RV screens are starting to come apart from the frame. And so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to fix that, because the bugs get in, and I don't really like bugs. So, but I really want the windows open because it's been pleasant weather. So let me know if you have a great Heloise hint on the screens. The other thing that's happened to us is the doohickey that you turn to open open. We have those kind that just open and flare out. Anyway, that doohickey just keeps turning. It's gotten stripped, so we're gonna have to replace that as well right here. This one. So if you have any hints on any of how all these fixes, please let me know. I'd really appreciate it. That was my big campground news, so to speak. Coming soon, things coming up. We have a couple of great shows coming up. We are talking to a gentleman who plays the Native American flute, and he does this a lot of times in the national parks and posts his videos on YouTube, of course. So we're going to be talking to Randy and learning more about what got him started on that and sharing some of that. He and his wife is a writer, so that'll be kind of fun. And then the other things coming up, we also are planning to have a discussion with some solar people who are installers and future sponsors of the other thing that you know is coming up, Camp Carpe Diem. We got sponsors now with Sacred Waters and Sacred Eats. They are helping us out with our opening ceremony, so our opening ceremony party. So that'll be great fun, and we're looking forward to that. So that is going to be awesome, and we hope that you will think about coming. I know Jen is coming. Jen is in chat right now. Oops, that's the wrong one. So I hope others of you are thinking about coming and making plans for this September to join us in Montana. It'll be cool there. So before I lose internet, because the wind is starting to pick up, and I am on Starlink, which has been doing kind of funky things today. I have to say, it's gone out on me a couple of times, so I'm a little concerned it might go out again. I will just wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining me today and listening in, and I hope that you have a great day. And there is no outro, so it is just goodbye. Oh, look, Barry just came in. So, at any rate, take care, and we hope you have a great week. Be safe out there, and we'll see you around the campground. Am I supposed to have closing music? I don't think I have any. So, ta-ta.